When it comes to the premarital divorce education course and the statutory premarital course, how these tie together is this. If people want to avoid the 3-day waiting period between obtaining the marriage license and then actually getting married, they can do this premarital class in the state of Florida. Now, what it says is they'll learn how to increase the chances of creating a fulfilling, lasting marriage. They'll learn more about each other, even if they haven't been together for a long time. It improves communication, teaches them how to work through conflicts, create their own blueprint as a guide for their marriage, and teaches them how to increase understanding of the partner's perspective on more important issues. But where it falls short is what they're getting is they're downloading a PDF file. That's what they're getting. And it's $30 to download that. But there's nobody to take them through it. So there's no real accountability. They're just downloading it and being able to move through it. They can print off a certificate, but there's no real substance to it, as I would say, because taking my premarital divorce education class, what they're doing is in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, we're going through the actual mediation agreement, which deals with how they would divide up their assets, how they would divide up their debt, the marital home, and then all of the money aspects as related to the children, who's paying for child support, the aftercare, daycare, summer camp expenses, who's able to claim them for taxes, who's paying for medical insurance, how that's being paid, how the uncovered medical expenses are being paid that are not covered by insurance. Generally, that's either prorated according to the child support guidelines worksheets, or it's split equally. Also, there's school supplies, school uniforms, and there's extracurricular activities. Then I would take them through the parenting plan. In the parenting plan, we deal with all the issues of time sharing. Time sharing used to be called custody and visitation. It's now time sharing. We talk about all the rights and responsibilities that the parents would have. And then we would talk about what their ideas on time sharing would be and how they would each be able to spend time with the kids and what the court says that is. We talk about how they would communicate, all the documents that would need to be exchanged, notification for out-of-state and out-of-country travel. We talk about who gets designated for school boundary for the kids once they're in school. And then there's lots of child safety. There's also the relocation statute. And so by actually sitting with a couple and taking them through my course, which would be in addition, it would be a nice complement to the statutory course, instead of them just downloading a PDF file that they would read and then print out a certificate, and they may or may not talk to their spouse on it. They have no idea what's coming down the line in the event that their marriage does not work out. And the national statistics show that 50% of first-time marriages end in divorce, and 65 or 70% of second marriages end in divorce. And so, whether it's in the church, whether it's out of the church, whether young, old, doesn't matter, there's a 50% chance 1 in 2 people will end in divorce. And what the premarital divorce education class is there for is for them to learn the pitfalls. If they know what is a possibility if they do not work on their marriage, if they know what the pitfalls are, then they're able to work on that and really strengthen their marriage and have a fighting chance to being those couples that do last forever. And so, I'm there to, number one, facilitate the conversation as I take them through the paperwork, to really challenge their thinking. You have 2 people coming in from, different backgrounds, maybe grew up in different geographic locations. They might have different views on marriage, child rearing. One party may come from a single parent home. The other one was raised by both parents. One might have been raised by a mother, one raised by a father. Both of them might have been raised by a mother. There's so many different combinations, but that will impact how they view raising children. And knowing that, look, if you guys do not work on your marriage, this is the reality of how you guys are going to have to divide up your things, how you guys are going to have to spend time with your children. That might be a wake-up call and really get them focusing on their marriage and making things work and figuring out and maybe even defining their roles before they even get married. And things like, okay, well, who's doing the chores? Who's doing the cooking? Who's doing the shopping? Who's doing the bills? Who's doing what? I mean, if the roles are even defined, that greatly helps. And so more than, going back to the statutory course where they say that, oh, you will learn how to increase your chance of creating a fulfilling, lasting marriage. Well, how so? You'll learn more about each other. I can't see how you could learn more about each other in a PDF where there's no accountability. There's no one actually saying, what are your views on this? Where they may or may not be honest. They may or may not be challenged with their thinking. And they certainly do not know what the law says pertaining to, if you guys do not make this, then here's what you're facing. How to improve communication. What better way to improve communication than with a third party neutral facilitator of communication, giving them the basic foundations for proper communication. Part of what I do in a mediation is not just the legal, it's the psychological, and it's also the emotional, and it is how to communicate. So many of the divorces I do, it's just lack of communication or poor communication skills, and it all just deteriorates, where you have two people that may be even on the same page, but they just can't communicate, and so they think they're not even reading the same book, when actually they're on the same exact page with the same goal, but they get frustrated, they dig in with their heels, they resist, they put up the walls, and it all falls apart. So in the course, it says that they'll learn how to work through conflict. Well, how do you do that? Well, those are the types of tools that I would give them in this course, this 2-hour time that we have together, giving them the tools, the necessary tools to be able to have the basic building blocks and foundation for a successful relationship in marriage. I'm going to teach them how to communicate. I've had many people tell me after mediation that, wow, this was better than any therapy they've ever had. And they wish that they had that years ago. A lot of it comes down to mediation is not therapy, but it can be therapeutic. So there's a lot more than just the legal aspect to this. And so, this is, how do you create a blueprint as a guide? That it says in the course again that they will learn to create a blueprint as a guide to their marriage. Well, what better blueprint than to have a idea of what a mediation agreement and parenting plan, a real legal blueprint of what the life will look like if they don't last and if they don't work on their marriage. That is the best blueprint you can ever have, is to know, okay, this is what life is going to look like if we don't pay attention. And then that is a great guide for them to then pay attention. Again, the final thing it says here, they'll learn to increase the understanding of their partner's perspective on important issues. What better way to understand about how to parent than to figure out, well, if we don't make it, what is my future spouse's view on parenting? Because that may give them a real eye-opener to, wow, we need to focus on this. We might need to adjust this, or you know what? This may actually not work. We might not need to be getting married because, I just don't agree with your parenting styles. That's not how I would ever want to do it. And those are the types of things that really need to be sought out, really need to be pondered, really need to be thought about before somebody jumps into marriage, and then they're in it and the butterflies go away, reality sets in, and they're going, wow, this is not what I signed up for. Well, actually it is. You just didn't sign up for the hard work. And marriage is hard work. It's a daily job that you wake up every day and you've got to go to work, and everybody's got to put in the time, and everyone's got to put in the effort, and you put in the work, good things will come. I hope this information helps you, and thank you so much.